Apple Knocker Radio.
Joyless Mars Day, my friends. In honor of this woeful occasion, I decided to record this video after doing my morning workout and just show the steel, show the symbols of this day of Mars. First, what do I mean? So today, Tuesday, the name is actually taken from Proto-Germanic god of war. I'm not even going to try to pronounce that name right now. But that same energy, that same essence of the universe, which is, within all of us as well, as above, so below, all that jazz. That energy is also reflected in the Roman god Mars, and then later the Greek god of Ares, etc. So rather than thinking of it as, isolated, this god or that god of this or that tradition, I think of it, and many other people think of it, more as an expression of a certain energy, right? A certain universal energy, which is also reflected in all of us. That Mars energy, the day of Tuesday, is that martial energy, that warrior energy, that combative energy. And so the reason why I want to make this video, and even though I'm kind of having some fun with some stuff, but it's also a serious topic to me. And so the reason why I wanted to make this video and why this is going to be just the beginning of a long exploration of a theme is that I've noticed that in these circles of space cadets, esoteric explorers, spiritual seekers, etc., including among people who are far more knowledgeable than I am. And let me make clear, I am never trying to pass myself off as some kind of guru or expert. I am not. But I find it interesting that even among people who clearly know more than I do, there is still this kind of, I don't know if I want to call it a stigma against the Mars energy, but maybe more like a misunderstanding of it, which I think largely makes sense, which is something that I plan on getting into. But, all of the planetary energies, they all have their good and their bad sides, their yin and their yang. I've noticed when people discuss Mars a lot, they struggle. I'm not going to say the specific person because it's going to sound like I'm insulting them, and I'm not, because this person runs one of the best channels on the planet and is far more knowledgeable of this stuff than I am. But even he struggled when discussing Mars. He doesn't script his talks like I do. He just talks. And in the moment, he struggled to come up with the virtues of Mars. And I think that's pretty consistent among people in these interests. Mars, I feel like, is just very misunderstood. And it's actually really funny to me because there's no planetary energy that I feel more at home and more comfortable with than Mars. Tuesday is my favorite day of the week. And so this is something that I want to explore and I want to get into. But today, specifically, what I want to talk about one of the healthy aspects of Mars, and one that I think is not always well understood. All right. And to do that, I'm going to take a line from the planetary prayer of Tuesday, which is the planetary prayer of the Mars energy. When I talk about the planetary prayers, I am talking about the prayers that are taken from the Hygromantia, and maybe I'm slightly mispronouncing that. If I am, sorry, which is the magical treatise of King Solomon. Yes, King Solomon from the Bible. All right, every day has its prayer, right? On the prayer of Tuesday, one of the lines, which honestly always kind of cracks me up, is sorry, let me find it. I conjure you, Mars, bellicose Mars. Oh, Mars, who rejoices in calamity and despises happiness. I love that. Who rejoices in calamity and despises happiness. It cracks me up, but I do actually think that in that line is an insight into one of the great things about the Mars energy and one of the things that I think is misunderstood. And like I said, I plan on exploring this in much more depth over time. And I'll get into more of the particulars and details. But the core essence of it in this brief video is, okay, so it despises happiness, right? Now, when you hear that, obviously that sounds pretty nasty and that sounds pretty miserable. However, I would submit that, just like Aristotle said, right? Aristotle said that every virtue taken to its extreme becomes a vice. I would suggest that that applies to happiness as well. That if you have continued and perpetual happiness, you become stagnant, you start to degenerate, you start to decay. I mean, this is you become fat and weak, and I don't mean any insult to people's weights, but you become soft, right? And then you begin to decay. Now, that's not the Mars's energy fault, that's the nature of the universe, because that's true everywhere, right? It's not just true with human beings. If you throw an animal put an animal in a zoo, and if you don't take measures to, restrict their food and all of that, they will eventually become slovenly and degenerate and weak, right? It's a nature of the universe. It's a law of the universe, right? And it's the same thing with exercise, right? Because, when you exercise, you're actually damaging your body, right? You're beating your body down. And then in the healing process, your body comes back stronger, right? Now, that's actually how it works. When you lift weights and when you run or anything, you're tearing up your muscle fibers. And then as those muscle fibers heal, they come back stronger. Well, I submit that is essentially the importance and the virtue, the great virtue of the Mars energy. Yes, it's not happy, but we can't have happiness all the time. And happiness, as strange and paradoxical as it seems, continued and perpetual happiness ends up eating you. It ends up destroying you. It wastes you away. And so one of the virtues of Mars is that it rescues you from the degeneration of your own happiness, of your own contentment. I hold that in very high esteem, and I think it's very important. Now, there are many other virtues of the Mars energy that I will explore over time. But today, that's the main one that I wanted to talk to on this day of Mars, Tuesday. So, just some food for thought. I'd like to know what other people think. I think Mars is misunderstood and gets short shrift. And the reason why I think that's unfortunate is that I think people can benefit from a better understanding of that energy. And maybe it's because I'm a veteran. Maybe it's because I trained martial arts for a good portion of my life. Maybe, I don't know what it is. Maybe it's just how I was born. But I've always felt at home in the Mars energy, and I've always loved it. I've loved the feeling of it. Yeah. So just some food for thought, my friends, something to consider. And I think in this day and age in particular, a better understanding and embracing of the Mars energy can benefit everyone tremendously. Yeah, so that's about it. Peace out, my friends.